All right, now let us say hello to the man who just fought this past Wednesday. An unfortunate turn of events. He was kicking off the first of a series of one championship cards on TNT. He was fighting Iuri Lapicus. Unfortunately, the fight ended as a result of a DQ, shots to the back of the head, a red card. You know this man. He is the underground king, Eddie Alvarez, back in the United States, kind enough to join us today. Eddie, thank you for the time. I appreciate it. How are you?
Oh yeah, man. In between, I headed to Mark Henry's right now. Get a little
Oh,
workout in. But
a legend.
I'm doing excellent.
So, first of all, biggest question that I can ask you this entire interview. I like the beard. Are we letting it grow? What's going on here? I mean, usually you have a little bit something, but this is more pronounced than usual.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of like mustache, that thing.
Hmm.
But my wife wanted me to let it grow in. She likes it, and I'm sticking with it. A couple people like it. A couple people
I
call me
like it.
mustache Eddie, but we're trying it out.
I like it. What Jamie wants, Jamie gets. So respect. Um, a week removed from the fight, one of the most talked about fights of this past week. Of course, controversial. A lot of fighters have weighed in. How do you feel about what transpired?
So I get the misunderstanding that went on in the ring. I get it. I don't envy any ref's job. I remember I had like a discrepancy with Goddard before, and it's for me. I don't envy their job. They're making split, quick, on the fly decisions just like we are in there, and they make mistakes just like we do. I make a split second mistake and I get knocked out. A ref makes a split second decision, maybe a rash decision, and it could affect like my career, my opponents or whatever. So I don't envy their job. I don't want to be a ref. So I mean, he made a decision. My thoughts are, it wasn't the right decision. I think it'd be dealt with differently. Um, and I we're, I'm looking to get it overturned. We're reviewing it. Um, and we'll see about getting it overturned. I think when everything comes to light and they slow things down and we think about it, it should be overturned. So I'm waiting on that.
How does that process work in one? Because to the best of my knowledge, there's no athletic commission over there, right? In Singapore?
I have no clue. I know it goes to a board.
Okay.
It goes to like a board of 10 or 15 unbiased judges that go back and review it and say whether it's good or not good, something on the lines of that. So I'm waiting upon review now as we speak, and we'll see. We'll
Okay.
see.
So you are
I think
going.
per- personally, I think he turned his head midway. I was given a warning about it. Um, when the ref yelled, back of the head, he also yelled, "Let's go," which was like a odd command to say, "Back of the head, let's go." Back of the head, let's go. I'm like, you don't tell a fighter, "Let's go." That's odd because I'm gonna go.
Mhm.
And if I am doing something illegally, from my point of view, I think you should just stop it and stand it up.
Mhm.
Don't allow a fight to go in its entirety, and then disqualify me. Break it up. Give me a point. Give me a warning or give me a point, and then we continue on. But when you let the fight go in its entirety and then I get penalized, I was a little upset about it. I just think it was the wrong call, and I think upon review, it should. I feel like there's a good chance. I think a lot of people feel like it should be underturned. So we'll see.
So, and from Lapicus's perspective, do you think he was moving his head to try and get you to punch him, like to try to make, because you can move your head in the flow of the action, and someone would say, "Oh, it's going to hit there accidentally," or you can maybe try to lean into that, sort of like with the downed opponent stuff and the illegal knees. What do you think he was doing, if anything, or was he just trying to get out of there? I mean, you guys were kind of pressed up against the cage, so it was a tough spot to be in.
Yeah, I don't know if he had many options. You know what I mean? I think
Yeah.
he wasn't going much anywhere. I seen that same shot. I seen Khabib hit that same shot a million times on people. I seen a million fighters hit that same shot on people, and there have been no discrepancy at all. So for me, it was a win. If I'm not going to get my win, I can at least get a no contest, please. You know what I mean? Disqualification I think was a bit harsh, considering there was no warning, no anything. It wasn't malicious or ill intent at all. Like no contest or give me my win. I feel like but other than that, I think disqualification was a bit much.
You were very emotional afterwards. Why?
That's the worst fight week I ever had, man. We were these quarantine rooms and stuff. I just I don't like. I'm a guy who distracts myself during fight week. Maybe we stay at the casino. I'll gamble the whole time. But the last thing I want to be in during a fight week is alone with my thoughts. That's not a good place for me. That's like personally, it's just not a good spot for me to be. This sport's like really, I take it really serious. I've seen a lot of bad things happen in the sport, and like sometimes the days before the fights, you just get in this loop of your mind, just like you go over the fight and go over the fight and go over the fight and all the bad things that could happen. And without any distractions or able to go somewhere to distract yourself or do something, it's not a good spot to be. So, it was an emotional fight week. I didn't have my wife there. My wife's always been to every single fight, didn't have coaches. Luckily, I got to bring out Ryan Cafaro, who was freaking awesome in my corner and during a training partner that I had there. He did a hell of a job, but it was difficult, man. It was very difficult.
So you could only have one coach there?
One coach, yeah. And
really, why?
One coach. Well, the Singapore government allows one coach. I mean, I think we were all given a pass, an athlete pass, but I mean, there's some stringent rules, and
right.
you got to stay in your room. You get 2 hours a day, a 1 hour training session, and then you get another 1 hour training session, and wow. You got to share that. You got to share that amongst other fighters. So you got to make sure you get your times in, that you get your time before other people do. You go out of your room, do your workout, you go back. And I'm not a victim. Everybody's got to do it. Just right. Personally for me, like my character and it drove me, it was difficult for me.
And so is this a situation where you experienced it? Obviously the fight didn't go the way you wanted, but maybe you're not going to be interested in fighting until the pandemic is over so that you don't have to go through this again?
No, that's not true. No.
Okay.
No, I think I dealt with it. I wrote a lot of notes about it, wrote to myself. I'm a big writer to myself when I deal with difficult times. And that was like cathartic. I got it off my chest and I think that helped me cope with it. And I think when I do get back in that situation again, I'll deal with it better than when I did the first time.
Okay. Have you been writing to yourself for a long time?
Yeah. I told you that when we walked around.
Well, I know you had the board, right? You had the board with this.
When we walked around Kensington, I told you, that I've written letters to myself since I was younger.
And so when you're writing to yourself, like in this situation, are you writing to yourself to calm down, or are you writing to yourself, like in this particular case where you're kind of locked up, so to speak, what does writing to yourself do? How does it help?
I guess it's like catharsis, like getting it off my chest.
Yeah.
And like vocalizing it, like a part of vocalizing it kind of helps it get out of me and not stay in me. I could go back to the paper and read like emotionally, like how I felt and some of the solutions that I was using to deal with the problem, and I can always go back to that and begin to read it and kind of use it as a reference in the future. So I don't know, that was just one way of coping with the situation. And I've always done that. It always helped me in the past.
You ever go back and read stuff from 10 years ago, 5 years ago?
Not often, but when I'm on a long plane ride, sometimes I'll go back and I'll watch like old sparring. That's fun. But then I'll go back into my old notes and I'll see some things that I wrote to myself about after certain fights, about how I felt after certain fights, or, just to remind myself like who I want to be and the person I want to be and the fighter I want to be. And a lot of that is within the notes that I wrote.
In watching fighting for a long time and talking to fighters for a long time, I have seen some fighters over the years kind of fall out of love with fighting and grow up and see what it could do to people and how it could injure you and what you're left with when a career is over. And so without knowing all of that you were going through that week, when I was watching you, I was wondering if the way I was viewing it was, here's Eddie Alvarez, who has done so much in this sport, who has bled and sweat and has sacrificed his body for so much. And here's a guy who's maybe coming to terms with the idea of not liking this as much as he once did. That was my take on it, because you were so emotional in that moment and you were talking about his state and the potential injury that he may have suffered. I think he was being stretchered out at the time and all that. And I was watching you kind of cope with that on live television and wondering if you were starting to fall out of love with MMA. Was I totally off in that regard?
I can't. No, I don't want. No, I don't want to say you. I heard you say that, and you had a point. You know, you had. I understood your point, what you were getting through, and I understood your point in that you're saying 15 years ago that I wouldn't feel that way, and you're right. You're 100% right. But like, you get older, you have a family. When I 15 years ago, all fighting is all that existed. You know, nobody else. Even I was with Jamie, my kids. Like, I would. Fighting like kind of took so much of a grip on my life that I was putting it before so many things. And like, that's not my outlook on life as a 37-year-old, you know, husband and father. Fighting is something I happen to do. I'm a husband and father first, and then fighting is something, it's my job. It's something I happen to do. And no, I love the fight. I enjoy everything about it, except for the night of the fight. When George St. Pierre says he's scared to death and he hates that whole, if I could skip that whole part and just train for a living, it'd be great. But the idea of hurting someone and damaging someone for life, there's I would leave this sport immediately. Like, if I ever did something like that, that's not my intention, never will be. It's to compete at the highest level, and like for me to grow. This helped grow me. It changed me from the inside out. Like, the person I was, I don't want to say it wasn't good, but it wasn't good enough. And then fighting grew me inside. It helped like heal a lot of things that I had going on. Made me confident, made me become a better person, better athlete, father, husband, and everything inside and out. So my intention is never to hurt anyone. It's to win a competition, them go home safely, me go home safely, and then move forward. So I understand what you mean. And yeah, maybe a part of me just seen too many bad things happen over the past 2 decades. And I have a negative, more of a negative outlook on people getting hurt and things like that.
And has that developed over time? Like, those feelings about fight night, that anxiety, if you will, was that always the case from when you even debuted, or has that come over time?
I think the anxiety about fight night today, if I could just be honest, like today as a father, like, I think about things like I used to think about, like, oh, what if he gets me in this or gets me in that? That's not my anxiety anymore. My anxiety is like, my kid is going to go in school tomorrow, and there's going to be kids who are to him. Like, and maybe I didn't perform well, or maybe I got knocked out. Well, I can't control a classroom full of like little kids ridiculing my son. Now my son got the burden of what I did on TV, and he's got to go through school the whole time like that. And all he wants to do as a 16-year-old is just fit right in. And it's a complete opposite. So now I'm making, maybe I'm making other people's lives difficult by doing what I'm doing. You know what I mean? So like, it's different anxieties. It's different things I think and feel about today than what I used to when I was younger,
Yep. Would you have preferred if they didn't put you on TV in that moment? The post-fight interview.
Yeah, I wasn't looking forward to doing. No, I thought I was going to just go out of the cage. I didn't look forward to doing an interview at all. I didn't know it was going to escalate to a stretcher. I didn't know it was going to escalate to what it did, a DQ. It just all escalated really quickly out of nowhere. and then they threw a headset on me. I'm like, I don't want to do this.
Right. Because he's
I
being
wanted to
stretchered
exit the
out
ring.
as you're talking, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
tough. That is
And
tough.
I wanted zero to do with the interview before I seen that. Just
Right.
because of the DQ, I didn't want to be on mic the way I felt inside. And then that happened. So I was like, it just added a whole lot of emotion to the whole situation, I guess.
To the best of your knowledge, is he okay now? A week later?
Yeah, he's 100%. He's good.
Okay. Also,
He's good to go.
There was a clip that was shared of you backstage crying. How did you feel about that?
Yeah, I don't know who took that. I was just trying to get beyond the curtain so I could be by myself, and and I wasn't by myself. So
Okay.
I was just trying to like get out of the stadium so I can get a little rest and like kind of get it all out of me, like get everything out of me that I was feeling, not just from the fight, but just from the being in the room for 8 days, and like everything just kind of came out at once,
Would you have preferred if that wasn't? I mean, it makes you very relatable to common people like me. I mean, we all you guys are superhuman in what you do in the cage, and I see that, and it makes me feel for you even more. But would you have preferred to not be shown in that vulnerable state?
I don't care.
Okay.
I don't care. My wife wasn't happy about it. She wasn't happy that someone did that to me. Like she's the one that would bite someone's head off if she's like they're lucky she wasn't there because she would have smashed the camera on the ground. But I don't care. I cry. Cry. I get angry, upset. I'm not perfect, but yeah. I don't care.
I asked your manager, Lloyd Pearson, right afterwards. They have these 4 shows on TNT. Would you maybe stay in Singapore and fight on this weekend's card, or this week's card, excuse me, this Wednesday, or next week's card? So do you want to get right back in there? Are there any talks of you, because the fight was so short and you looked so good, of getting right back in there?
I barely needed to come home, so I'm home, like I had to come home, but I am going back. I'm going back 100%. Yeah, I'm headed back. I'm headed back to Singapore in real short order, and I'm gonna fight
this month.
Yep, this month.
Is there a fight, a done deal?
We're yeah, I don't want to say it's done, but it's we're damn near there, and I'm going back to Singapore. So I'm getting on a flight soon enough, and I'm going back to Singapore, and I'm looking forward to a fight.
Wow. And what about going through that whole hotel process all over again in such short order?
We're gonna do it.
Wow.
I'm gonna go. I'm fully in character. Let's say that. I don't want to be home and become,
domesticated.
Dad and husband,
right?
The dad and husband and the vacation Eddie, and have a few drinks. I want to stay on edge, stay on easy, upset, angry, and emotional, and then get me back on a plane and throw me in a box. And I don't know. Maybe that calls for a good performance. So we'll see.
Okay. Don't want to get you in trouble. So I'm assuming you don't want to talk about like the exact date or opponent or anything like that.
Yeah. No date or opponent. Just know that you guys are going to see a lot more of me very soon.
Very soon. Okay.
Very soon. Before the end of this month. I think so.
Wow, that is amazing. And I just want to. I'm just curious, Eddie. In the next fight, Demetrius lost, so it was kind of shocking to see both of you, kind of the faces of one in America, lose back to back under crazy circumstances. He got nailed with that knee while he was down. You like that rule, or would you like for one to be more like how the promotions are here, the unified rules are here in America?
I'm with it. I'm with the rule.
Okay.
I think it's a vulnerable position. You know what I mean? I think, and if you're in that position, you're losing. I don't think a guy who's winning it should be able to get. A guy who's in a winning position shouldn't be in position to get kneed in the head like that. So I think you're in a vulnerable position. You get out of it as soon as possible. Not stay there and play the game. If we were in a fight, a real fight, and I had you in a front headlock, and you were just sitting there, I'm probably going to knee you in the head or do something to finish you. So I'm with it. I think I get the confusion because of unified rules
Hmm.
to see over in America, but different strokes, different folks. All cultures are different. You go to
Yep.
Russia, you'll probably get different stuff. But I fought all over the world. I fought
Hmm.
everywhere. So I don't believe in one system. I think there's good and bads from all the rules. We don't quite have it down here in America, and I don't think anybody does. We just do what we feel is right, I guess.
Last thing before I let you go, you mentioned you fought everywhere. You have fought almost everyone in your orbit. Am I hearing correctly that you have your sights on a different kind of fight in the not too distant future?
uh yeah. So recently we've been hearing from Oscar De La Hoya's guys, and you know we're gonna go. Look, my I'm fixated on the one championship belt. That I mean, I'm laser focused on making history and getting my world title. Um, but I feel like there's going to be a lull. The champion's going to sit for a little bit. I think he's having a baby, and if that happens, Oscar De La Hoya and them guys been reaching out, and hell, I'd love to get in there and mix it up with him. That'd be a hell of a fight. And I got everybody here in Philadelphia backing me, and the whole Philadelphia boxing to back me up and to get in there and mix it up with that guy. It'd be a dream come true. And I actually think I do pretty damn good against him. So I'd be crazy excited about that if them guys figure that out. We'll see
He
though.
he just announced a couple of weeks ago that he's coming back July 3rd in, I believe, Dallas. So they've like this is a serious thing. There have been serious, or at least some kind of talks of you potentially fighting him. He reached out to your team. Your team reached out to his after he made the announcement. What happened?
Oh yeah, they're serious talks. They're serious they're serious like wanting to get a deal done this week serious. So
Wow. And one's
uh
okay with this?
well I spoke briefly to Chatri about it, and we'll speak further about it, and we'll see what comes of it. Right now, and I never get too excited until papers are in front of me,
Mm-hmm.
and we have a bad agreement online, and everybody's happy with what's on the paper. But yeah, we're being reached out to. I believe they tried to get some larger names, and the larger names kind of outbid themselves, or they're under contract. Nobody is even available or not. Nobody's able to. They're all either in contract or outbid themselves. So, um, I've been, for me, I've been boxing in and out of Philly boxing gyms my whole career with pro boxers. When I'm not training for a martial arts fight, I'll be in West Philly, North Philly, or somewhere sparring boxing with some of the best boxers in Philadelphia. So no sweat off my back. The last time De La Hoya went against a Philly guy, he got knocked out with a body shot. Bernard Hopkins executed him. So if he wants that to happen again, he mess with another Philly guy.
He's pushing 50 though. Like, do you think it's a good idea for him to come back after all this time against anyone?
I don't care what he does. You can you do what you want. You can drive with your feet. That don't mean it's a good idea.
Wait, don't you want how do you drive? I drive with my feet. You mean like on the gas pedal?
You drive. No. Like on this, you can drive with
Oh,
your
on the
feet if
steering
you
wheel.
put your foot
Yes.
on the
Okay.
steering.
All right. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I said it don't mean it's a good idea. So
Right. That's
I
fair.
mean, I'm sure. Look, you know what? I sparred Howard Davis before Howard Davis passed, and Howard Davis was probably 50 years old when I sparred him at ATT. I was probably 22 years old at the
Wow.
time. He he worked me over.
Yeah.
So um so to say that he won't be good just because he's older isn't true. I mean, the gas tank may not be there, but you don't lose. I mean, once you get back in the groove, and De La Hoya growing up for me, if you wanted to learn how to box, like technically, you watched Oscar De La Hoya. You would learn how to box by watching him truly fight. That's how technical and beautiful he boxed. So that's, you know, at 50 years old, I still, you know, maybe he's got a chip on his shoulder and he's going through a midlife crisis and he wants to show his, so
That's something.
good for me. Hopefully we get the fight.
So what percentage are we at now? Like if 100% was done deal, where are we at now in your mind?
Oh, I mean, we're at the second or third time they reached out to
Okay.
talk.
Interesting.
Second or third time they reached out to chat. And for me, I'm fixated on my fights. So it's like, yeah, I get the idea. If you guys want to throw a number at us and you know, let's really talk or get a contract in front of us, then we can sit down and now through the details. But for right now, for me, it's all about one championship world title.
And just because this is boxing, right?
I got my, yeah, this is boxing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe it's an eight round boxing fight.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Oh no, I'm just saying for me, I'm fixated on making my own history. Oscar De La Hoya made his history. He did whatever he's gonna do. I don't know for what reason he's coming back or what he's doing, but I know the last Philly guy put him away. And that you should learn your lesson. Mess with a Philly guy.
All right. Well, some bombs dropped here by Eddie Alvarez, likely returning later this month, a lot sooner than we probably all expected, and potentially a July fight against Oscar De La Hoya. So things are, after a very quiet 2020 in terms of activity for you, you might get 3 pretty big fights in the span of a few months. So thank you for that, Eddie. Good luck to you, my man. Thanks as always for the time and insight. I'm sorry what happened last week. It was tough to see it all go down like that, and especially the aftermath. But you're a legend. You're a class act, and it's always an honor to talk to you and to watch your fights.
Thanks, Ariel, and everybody. Like, I mean, the outpouring of support has been incredible. Please, guys, keep it coming. And the more you guys keep yelling, the more I'm going to fight. So I'm going back to fight real quick for you. And if it wasn't for the support I got after that fight, I'd probably just stay home and go on vacation or whatever. But I'm feeling really good right now. So thank you guys, and follow me at Alvarez Fight on Instagram.
Awesome. Thank you, Eddie. All the best.
Thanks, Ariel.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.